Welcome to CondoLogy.
Here we are, I am Condo bot. So as promised, we will proceed with a budget item. We will start with a budget item which is relatively simple to complete, and the next ones we will move forward in an increasing complexity. At the same time, it will give us the opportunity to become more familiar with completing a file, because there will be several. Okay, we're going to start with the accounting assistant sheet. So we click on the three little green dots, then on Edit. Here is access to the item file. So here, we have fields that are already completed, an item code. For the moment, we don't need it. But we will have the opportunity to work with item codes. To be determined is the category of the item. In fact, we are in financial administration, so it is the category of the item. The name of the supplier. We don't have one, but there is accounting assistance within our administration. So at this point, we can clearly see that it is not in the list of suppliers. So, we can add a new supplier. We only have the entrepreneur file, which is here and linked to the register of entrepreneurs. We're going to say Accounting Inc. has company name. It's an example of a type of business. We see that the type of company, it's financial accounting. The address is 123 Rue du Dollar, Montreal, QC, H7Y6T5. An account number. If we have the information, we put that in there. The item is paid biannual. If there was a website, we could register the URL. A customer area. That means that if we had access to a web customer portal, we can enter it in the field. The resource person who represents us is Gisette number. Well, we can put her telephone numbers. It's all fake phones, don't try that, okay? So here we're going to put it well. We can see that it's perhaps a little too many numbers. Oops, correction. As a contact, we are going to say register Gisette number. So look carefully here, we are going to do something different. We are going to put a Gmail address but register Gmail, which does not exist. It is just to put an email address and we could have a second contact. Then there, in our entrepreneur, we could add his RBQ number, the OPC, as well as his web evaluation for the quality of the comments that are made on the internet. If we want, we could also enter the details regarding the service calls, how it works, the rates, and enter verifiable references. You have to understand that all the data that we have entered here, when saving the form, will be transferred and yes, inside our budget items form. This is very pretty. So, the condition of the items, well, we would like to put one, except that it's a person. We don't say that it's new. Okay, so the warranty expiration date, there is none. The types of the item, it's an expense. There is no income. At this level there, the expense is assumed by the budget, and there, what we see is a very interesting field. Is the expense subject to common areas? We are going to put no because it is general administration. And will the item be replaced one day? No, it's a person, it's not an item. Now in the type of items, our accountant will do the accounting for the main syndicate, but will also do the accounting for the other syndicates. Okay. To balance the entire budget and figures between the syndicates, there is some work to do, which will be to calculate the redistribution so our expense becomes a redistributed expense. Like that. At that moment, for us it is a question of redistributing the expense. So, it is certain that I may have calculations to carry out to know what the amount of such a syndicate represents, which percentage of the invoice amount. So let's say that, for example, 50% of the invoice goes to the CondoLogy mansion. Syndicate 2 is at 12.5%. Syndicate 3 is at 12.5%, and then let's that our Syndicate 4 is at 25%. At that point we have 100% of the bill which is redistributed. The amount is not displayed yet, but it will be displayed automatically. Okay. How much does the accountant cost in her year? She costs $3,000. Okay, we make a payment on the payment date. Let's say a part that is payable on September 20th, we are going to make the biannual payment. At this time, the next payment is $1,500. The payment method is Interac e-transfer. We did not receive any money from redistributed expenses. We will have the opportunity to work with that later. Total disbursement is $0, balance to pay $3,000. Last year, this same accountant cost $2,800 and we paid the sum of $2,800. That's information you have in your administration. Now is the intention of the board of directors to change accountants? Do we want to shop the market? If the answer was yes, we check this box here and there would be a submission which will be created and which will have to be prepared. It will have to be completed. CondoLogy will tell us that we need a submission to produce for this item. So, we see that our invoice is redistributed. There is no contingency fund and/or item replacement because it is a person. It is a service. So we see here that the annual cost, given that it is our first annual blow, it's $3,000. For the moment we have a planned transfer to the contingency fund of 5% which should be adjusted at the end of our budget. So, we would have a money transfer and that would give me a contingency fund which would be returned to such an amount. So our first item is completed. Have saved. A click on update. What happens is that we have just seen that the item which was to be determined and rendered in a separate category called administration and finance. That means that all the budget items which will be linked to the administration and finance will be found together. The items will be grouped together if they are of the same category. So here is our first item. We will move on to the second in a future video.